here, and welcome back to the channel. For those of you guys who's just joining us for the first time, make sure to browse the channel. All right, if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. And for my viewers who always make sure to tune in week after week, it's good to see y'all. How y'all doing? Hope you guys are doing okay. All right, as you can see, I'm in the garage chilling, and there is no better way to spend my weekends than doing what I do best and doing what I love. All right, let us get to it. On my last video, I talked about the plans for the car and what parts we had on order. Purchased the Viking Crusaders double adjustable. Got them specced for the car for the weight, compensating for the iron block up front. Also sent out the F1R Procharger. Spoke to Tom the other day, and they received the F1R. They've broken it down, did their inspections, and are currently rebuilding it into an F1X, and that's about a week out. Coilovers are also shipping within the next week as well, along with mast heads. So I ended up going with mast black label 305 cc heads. Did some research, and it was honestly the best bang for the buck. Out the door, it was about 3,800 bucks, and that was with a few discounts here and there. And I think we're gonna be happy with it. So it looks like everything is gonna be coming in by mid to late next week, which still puts me in a good timeline. There's a racing event coming up, Maryland versus Virginia, that I definitely want to make. So once everything comes in, I need to remeasure my push rod length, because I'm sure that's gonna change, and then get those on order ASAP, and hopefully they get here just in time. If I could have like a 48-hour window between getting the car assembled, I could definitely take it to where I'm more comfortable and dial it in on the street. With the F1R, we made somewhere in the 12s, 1190 spin under the dyno, so it's definitely somewhere in the 12s. And then with the F1X, shooting for around 1350, maybe 14. And then dial it back to whatever hooks on the street, and then the rest will be for the track. Okay, so over here we got the parts that we've taken off. Flipping this around to give you guys a better view. So here are the accessories here from the supercharger, push rods, rocker arms, spark plugs, all that good jazz, bracket, valve covers. On the last video, I had ordered, okay, I think that's a motorcycle. All right, I had ordered some 315 6015 Street Pros, and they came in and they were a lot taller than I had expected. So sent those back, and I have here some 275 6015s, which are pretty much the same specs as the AT Street R's of the same size. So 275 6015. So I'm gonna be giving these a shot with the new setup, and if they do okay, I might end up trying out the 325 AT Street R's and see how that goes. If not, then I'll just bounce back to this. But it was pretty much, there was no size in between these and the ones that I had ordered prior. So hopefully this works and I don't have to keep experimenting with tires. And then, yeah, as you can see, the heads are off. Okay, so the heads are off, and right now the plan is to have everything taken off, all the old parts taken off. That way, as the new stuff comes in, we'll just slap it in and, you know, try to, keep things flowing. I pulled off the passenger side head, and everything looked good, but I had a little bit of, it was like whitish fluid. I smelled it, and it definitely smelled like raw fuel. Okay, so I didn't really bat an eye about it. I just, just wiped it off, because I didn't want, the fluids just sitting in the chamber. It wasn't until I pulled the driver's side, and same thing, cylinder one. This one was a bit more murky, light brown in color, and same thing, smelled like fuel. The rest looks pretty good. All right, so what that tells me is when the gasket gave out, I'm pretty sure it was flowing coolant into the combustion chamber. Luckily, we didn't hydrolock or mix coolant with the oil. So I just did I drained the oil earlier, and everything looked pretty good. It wasn't murky, wasn't milky, none of that. Pulled the heads, and I'm gonna grab a flashlight here. So I pulled the heads, and one thing I noticed was how clean the exhaust ports were, right? So my first thought was, okay, is it the meth? Because, you know, we recently started spraying meth. And I'm like, well, if it's the meth, we might have some issues because it's not really an even distribution. So this is the head on the let me see here. Okay, so this is the head on the passenger side. And as you can see, cylinder 8 is the only one that doesn't look as clean. Right, so that would tell me that we're not really getting a good enough meth spray in that cylinder, and that would be an issue. So I'm still gonna do some research just to make sure that this is actually from the coolant that was getting into the combustion chamber, and not you know, from me spraying meth. Because if the ports are that clean, you would think that the pistons would be that clean as well. But I don't know. I'm gonna do some research just to make sure that I don't have any underlying issues that I definitely need to be, you know, like worrying about or looking into. With the Mast 305 black label, I am having them deck it to a 68 cc chamber. All right, so we did a rough estimate on what the compression ratio is going to be with everything bolted down. So with the heads decked, and I also went with a MLX 44,007 inch head gasket. And then with the current compression based on the crank, we were ballparking at right around a 10.1, 10.2 compression ratio, which is going to be a good bump from the previous, like 9.75, 9.8. So I think that'll be a plus, because I honestly do believe that like this whole low compression is better for boost. It's like a what I say, it's more of like a old school thinking when they didn't have like fuels with like good octane, you know. But now with E and meth, I mean, I think the better the compression. Well, the higher the compression, the better for the setup. I mean, I wouldn't really go anything like past like an 1101, which is what the LX7s come with factory. So I think like a 10.3, 10.4, maybe a 10.5 would probably be as high as I would want to go. In the meantime, I actually went back, gave the wing a facelift. I'm not sure if I covered that in the previous video. And then I also went ahead and I fabbed a lip for it. Currently, I have that sent out right now for powder coating. My boy Rob, he's actually my neighbor down the street. He's gonna be handling that. Also sent him the top lid for the intake manifold as well. So we're doing a hollow flake for the intake, and then for the rear lip, it's gonna be just flat black. What else? So for me right now, the next phase is going to be to put the car on jack stands front and rear, and then start taking out the old suspension parts. So taking out the leaf spring front and rear along with the shocks, and, you know, pretty much just have everything ready to go. That way when the new parts start rolling in, you know, we can just install them. Let me know what you guys think about, you know, the combination as far as the heads and the compression ratio that we're shooting for. I went ahead and I actually tapped the extra mount hose, boat hose for the 6-bolt heads, because when I ran the 4-bolt, water kind of got into them. So I retapped them and I inserted the studs in there. That way when I get to cleaning, I don't have to worry about any dirt or, you know, any random debris working themselves in there. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start cleaning up the surface on the block. You can see over here all this rust under the power steering, I mean not a power steering, under the coolant reservoir. All that rust came from when it was just dumping water out on my way back from a local meet, when it was very clear that the head gasket had given out. So I'm gonna give that a good wipe as well. Try to rejuvenate things. And it's crazy how much these iron block rust, like you can see it there. Like I haven't seen my radiator looking so like, but yeah, I mean, I guess it is what it is. And then later I'm gonna pull these lifters out and inspect the rolling surface, make sure nothing crazy is going on under there. Just got done prepping the deck surface, scrubbed it with a greeny weenie, also cleaned out the pistons while I was at it. Am I the only one who feels like when you clean the carbon off the piston surface, it like takes it right back down to like 0 miles? I'm pretty sure that the reason why the exhaust ports were clean like that was from pushing out coolant over time. Looked at the head gaskets as well, and you could kind of see where it failed at. So this is what I'm used to here, right? Where you got rust pretty much by the water passages, right? But then on this side, you could kind of see that rust almost everywhere. So you can kind of see where moisture kind of like built up, and where the head gasket was exposed to coolant. On the other side, doesn't look too bad. So pretty much every cylinder on the passenger side was exposed to coolant. And then on the driver's side, this was kind of chewed up right here. So yeah, the signs are definitely there, lifting the heads over time for about 2 months now. But I didn't think nothing of it, only because cruising, you know, I would still see that 185 to 187 coolant temp. And then when I would make a hit, it would jump to right around 192, 194, along with pushing water out. But then, you know, it would just cool right back down. So I didn't think that it would need immediate attention. It wasn't until I was cruising not too long ago, and I was averaging about 235. I'm like, okay, yep, I think that'll be all she wrote. So I got the car on jack stands, front and rear. So now I'm gonna take the time out and start taking out the factory leaf spring along with the shocks. And I think that'll be the last thing that I need to do until the new parts start rolling in. All right, so I'm gonna get on the crawler and start knocking it out. All right, stick around. Undid the shock from the top and the bottom mount, as well as the leaf spring. So currently I'm gonna drop the top A-arm, and then that'll give us a little bit more space to get this factory shock out of here. So a while back, I took out the front sway bar, and the car felt like it hooked a lot better. But I didn't like how it drove. It was very floaty, and it was almost not worth the squeeze. So I ended up putting it back in. But I'm thinking about taking it back out now that I'm going to be running coils front and rear, and see if the sway is not as bad. What do you guys think? Should I leave the sway bar in, the front sway bar, or should I take it off as well when I'm throwing the coilovers in? So leave a comment, let me know. All right, so I'm gonna be posting this video and before the parts come in, so I'll tally it up and see what you guys suggest. I'm leaning more towards taking the sway bar off first and then seeing how the car dries. So if it dries not too bad, then I'm gonna just leave the front sway bar off. But if the sway's still there and it feels kind of floaty and unsafe, then I'm gonna just end up putting it back in. So let me know, all right? I'm gonna go in here and take out this factory leaf spring. Actually, forgot to take off the shock, because that'll actually give me more room to then shimmy the leaf spring out of there. So just give me a second. All right, passenger shock is out. Gonna grab the driver's side shocks real quick. Whew. All right, got the driver's side shock as well. Now the leaf spring is ready to come out. So I'm gonna slide it over to one end. All right, there we go. Ooh. Here's your factory leaf spring. Got a couple people saying that moving to coilovers is a step in the wrong direction. I don't really believe that, because I mean, you know, these are aftermarket stuff, especially when it's spec'd, you know, to the car. So, I mean, we'll see. I'm gonna not toss these out in case I do ever need to throw them back in. Hopefully not. Okay, so I'm gonna leave them over here. Throw it in the shed later on. And we're gonna go ahead and move on to the fronts. I went ahead and I added a couple bolts to the A-arm. That way it helps support the rest of the suspension. I saw that the brake line had a little bit of tension on it, so Cause I'm not sure how long the car's gonna be sitting like this. It might be up to another week. Do the same for the other side. All right, we got the rears done, and I'm gonna move on to the front. After a short 5-minute break, I am in here breaking the sweat. Fast forward, and we have both the rear and the front leaf spring dropped along with the shocks. So pretty much got the car prepped and ready. So as the new parts start rolling in sometime this coming week, we're gonna go ahead and throw those in. The only part that I haven't ordered just yet is gonna be the proper length push rods with the masked black label 6-bolt heads. They're a lot thicker, so I'm expecting that I'm gonna be needing a slightly longer push rod. And when the heads come in, along with the gaskets, that's gonna take precedence. I'm gonna go ahead and mount those on and get the push rod length verified and placed on the order, because that's going to end up being my bottleneck in order to get this car up and running by the end of the month. I already contacted Manton about it, and right now it's looking about a week turnaround time between order and getting the product out the door. So right now on the old setup, we're running a 7.950, and I'm expecting them to be just a tad longer for the new setup. And I think that is going to cover it for this video. It's been a long day for me. Right, I went ahead and I took a pause and freshened up. I appreciate y'all for tuning in and keeping up to date with the progress on the car. And for those of you who just joined us for the first time, if you haven't already, do subscribe, okay? So we got a lot of good shit coming, and you don't want to miss out on it. All right, thank you for the love, thank you for the support, and I'll be seeing y'all on the next upload.